Hello and welcome to Opening Bars. Take the Long Way Home is track number 6 on the Breakfast in America album of 1979. There is also a DVD entitled Take the Long Way Home Live in Montreal, which includes a 75-minute solo concert by Roger, filmed live at the Place des Arts in 2006. Some clips I looked at for this tutorial video come from that DVD. I'm going to notate these opening bars in the bass clef for both the right hand and the left hand, using 3 flats for the key signature and a time signature of 4/4. It's so interesting that this piece feels like C major, grounded by the C pedal and set up by those F major to C major subdominant to tonic chords. But there is an abundance of E flat major and B flat major chords too, and later we also get an E minor, A minor, and G major in the chorus. And we also hear an A flat major in the outro. Three flats seems to be the most notationally relevant. Notice that I use an E flat / C chord for beat 1 here. Some publishers use C minor 7, but I feel that to be a bit misleading, making one think this piece is in C minor. I also like that you can clearly see the E flat to B flat 4/1 movement and the C pedal all the way through. Notice in this bar too, most online sheet music labels this only as B flat / C, but that's not actually the primary sonority here. It's really an F sus4. And finally, also take note of the textures here. Full 4-note chords to start, a doubled third here, a doubled fifth here to the doubled root, thinned to triads, and then to simple intervals. You get a satisfactory melodic line out of this too. I also hear Roger sometimes play this B flat, although I suppose it's not really necessary to notate it. It's just a stylistic affectation. Let's look at the rhythm. So here is the introduction that precedes our opening bars analysis. It's very simple, and if we play what we see, we would hear this. But as you can tell, that's not how Roger is playing this. He is playing in a purposefully uneven manner, which we might call swung eighths. Now, there are many nuances to this musical convention, but for our example, here we are going to imagine this as tuplets. Written out, it would look like this, and sound like this. So, we write out the score for readability with the understanding of a stylized performance. Here we have the main section. Notice the 2 different rhythms in the left hand. The first section sounds like this, and be sure to tie that eighth over the last beat. I think that's what Roger does, and it will really help you play this. And here is the second passage. This is a wonderful compositional subtlety. These boss rhythms are delineated by straight quarters in the right hand with one small syncopation. When put together, they sound like this. One of the really great things about Roger Hodgson is his understanding of and ability to get the most out of that Wurlitzer electric piano, or Whirly as it's affectionately known. It really is a versatile instrument, one that can bite like a brass section, riff like a guitar, has a terrific built-in vibrato tremolo control, and is often heard as a core sound in R&B, soul, and gospel music. This instrument is featured heavily on this and other albums of Supertramp. To get a really good idea of the versatility of the Whirly, you should also listen to any number of recordings of Ray Charles, or individual songs like You're My Best Friend by Queen, Where It's At by Beck, Any Major Dude Will Tell You by Steely Dan, Tom Petty's Breakdown, or Miss You by the Rolling Stones. You can see and hear Roger's touch right off the top. In the opening sequence, it sounds like he is only playing on beats 2 and 4. Yet as he gets going, he is actually also playing a C4 on beat 3 as well. You can barely hear it, but if you watch the live video, you can see it. The same is true for the main progression we looked at here. It's doubly fascinating, as it's as if he is playing a long appoggiatura on beat 1, which is normally the moment of stress, here and here, yet it's the weak beats 2 and 4 that receive more attention, creating a syncopation in 4/4 time. Here I'm going to show these anti-accents in Roger's playing as ghost notes in gray. When researching this song, I found a few interesting sheet music examples. I'm going to play 4 of them for you, highlighting some ideas on how music is conveyed through notation. I won't try to correct them too much or add any particular musicality. I'm just going to render them more or less as is, off the page. The first one here is vastly oversimplified and really bears no resemblance to Roger's performance. The tempo is marked slowly in 2. Not sure how that tempo is realized actually. The dynamic is mezzo forte, and there is no damper pedal indication. Because this is a type of stride piano style, I am going to use pedaling on the chord changes. The left hand would be tricky for beginners, but I do really like playing the triads on beats 1 and 3 and the root on 2 and 4, opposite of a normal stride. That would make for a valuable variation for your technical exercises. Anyway, here's this one. This one here is a very different vibe than the recording, and perhaps that's the intent. I don't know. I think moderately, too, is a bit vague as a tempo marking, and the equivalency probably means that they wish the vocal line to be swung, but not the accompaniment. There is a dynamic marking of piano, with a crescendo to mezzo forte. Pedaling is not marked here, and I'm going to assume, because of the 8th rests and anticipated style here, that we will not want to gloss over that, so I won't use any. Let's try this then. This one here is a bit better, reduced for beginners, version. There is a label for a moderate halftime shuffle. This is a highly stylized drumming pattern that I don't think is appropriate here. This is Ben Ziebenberg's main pattern for the verse of Take the Long Way Home. And here is Jeff Porcaro's halftime shuffle for Rosanna. I think the hi-hats really make the difference. Notice that there is no key signature. I do like that. There is both a piano and mezzoforte dynamic marking. The chord labels, including the F sus/C and the C5, are correct. That too is good. I don't like the 8VB. I think that's messy on the page for that many bars. I would use the sub-8 bass clef, or use ledger lines instead. I'd reserve the 8VB for individual notes or a relatively small cluster of notes only. The first and second ending seems unnecessary too. It says with pedal, so I'll use that. Here is this one. Aldy Santos' transcription is the truest, in my opinion. As we discussed earlier, however, I hear Roger playing on many of those rests, and I'm not sure I hear that G2 in the left hand here. There is a tempo marking of quarter equals 160, but there should also be an annotation that this is not to be played straight. Unlike the other examples, there is no dynamic marking here, and I think there should be at least an initial one. The layout itself is actually quite considered and much better than the others. There is also no indication that a damper pedal is to be used, and I know you might say, but that's always a given with piano. But if you've noticed, however, I had to make a choice in earlier examples. It's much better to be deliberate in your instructions. As I've been trying to make a point here with these examples, notation, while imperfect, is important, and we should make best efforts to be as complete, clean, and accurate as possible, as you may end up with very different results. So, to play this as written might sound like this. By the way, Aldy is a really wonderful piano player. You should check out his site and services. There's a link in the description. I hope you enjoyed your lesson today. Remember, don't just play notes. Make music. Until next time, thanks for listening.